Chosen one, you've felt it, haven't you? That strange shift in your body. Like your skin is no longer just skin, but an antenna. Your stomach churns when a liar speaks. Your head pulses when a room holds deception. Your chest tightens when someone's energy doesn't match their smile. You're not just more sensitive, you've been upgraded. While the world sleeps, you've been recalibrated in secret. Heaven has been restructuring you because the battlefield has changed. And now, so have you. This is not some phase. This is divine engineering. Your body is no longer just flesh and bone. It is a weapon, a satellite, a walking command center built to detect spiritual warfare before it even begins. You see, they thought you were soft. They thought your kindness meant weakness. But while they played with spells and schemes, you were being trained by silence. Every night of insomnia, every vivid dream that felt more real than the daylight, every allergic reaction to negative people and false energy. It wasn't random, it was refinement. You weren't breaking down, you were being rebuilt. God was rewiring your nervous system, tuning you like a divine frequency tower. Your skin, it now rejects betrayal. Your ears, they hear what's not being said. Your heart, it senses shadows before they form. You thought you were going crazy, but in truth, you were becoming a nuclear spiritual weapon. Do you understand what that means? Even the demons that were sent to destroy you now report your name back to their ranks with fear, with hesitation, with regret. Because chosen one, your activation is complete. You're no longer a civilian in the spirit. You've been drafted, equipped, positioned, and now you're being deployed. But here's the twist. They didn't see it coming. The enemy thought their spell worked. They laughed, they waited, they watched, expecting your fall. But instead, you rose, stronger, sharper, sanctified. Their curses didn't stick. Their traps didn't hold. Why? Because you're not just walking in faith, you've become faith in motion, a living prophecy with eyes like flame, an armor they cannot pierce. They tried to hex you, but the vibration of your praise shattered their plans. They tried to drain you, but your boundaries were forged in holy fire. They tried to block your money, but heaven turned the dam into a floodgate. And now, a windfall is racing toward you. Not just finances, but favor, position, protection. This isn't luck, it's justice. The scales have tipped in your direction. The harvest is coming early because you survived the famine. So if your body's been feeling off, if you've been seeing signs, hearing whispers, dreaming in symbols, that's not imagination, that's data, that's intel. Your soul has been attending divine strategy meetings while your conscious mind thought you were just exhausted. Every twitch, every tear, every chill down your spine was heaven updating your system. Chosen one, you are not the same. You will never be the same. And from this point forward, you will never walk alone. Your transformation has begun, and your enemies are about to witness the consequences of touching God's secret weapon. Because while they were busy casting spells, God was signing contracts, and one of those contracts has your name on it. Welcome to the next level. You've passed the test, and the reward is already on the way. Chosen one, have you been seeing things lately? Visions, flickers of images when your eyes are closed? Conversations in dreams that feel too real to forget. Sudden words slipping from your mouth that sound like prophecy. This is not coincidence. This is not your imagination. This is a briefing. Heaven has begun feeding you classified information, but it's not arriving in plain language. It's being delivered through frequencies, encoded signals, spiritual data. You've entered a new level now, where divine intelligence is installed, not explained. You are no longer just learning, you are remembering. Every strange dream you've had lately, those weren't random. They were spiritual meetings, strategy sessions, war room downloads. While your body rested, your spirit was wide awake, seated at a round table you didn't know you were invited to, taking notes in light language, receiving coordinates for future decisions. Don't dismiss the fragments that flash before your waking mind. That blurry face, that repeating number, that phrase that echoes in your head like a whisper. These are keys, pieces of the map, proof that your soul has been activated as a high-ranking operative in a war most people can't even see. You are now functioning under a new operating system. Old ways of gathering information no longer apply. You don't wait for confirmations from people. You receive confirmation from spirit. You know before you're told. You discern before you see. You exit a room and feel what was left unsaid. Why? Because you've been wired for divine reconnaissance. Your intuition is no longer soft. It is strategic, militarized, accurate. There's a reason why people are uncomfortable lying to you now. Even they feel it. They see something in your eyes. An X-ray vision that pierces past their masks. Chosen one. You've been reading people's blueprints without even realizing it. You can feel their assignments, sense their motives, decode their intentions without a single word spoken. And no, you're not crazy. You're connected. You're operating with divine surveillance. Every symbol you see, every flash in a dream, every gut feeling that won't leave is heaven handing you strategy in disguise. They call it intuition, but this is intelligence, divine military intelligence. Heaven doesn't always speak with thunder and fire. Sometimes it whispers through timing, through alignment, through interruption, a door closing at the perfect second, a delay that saves your life, a missed call that protects your path. Chosen one. God has installed in you a GPS that cannot be hacked. It does not need approval from others. It doesn't ask for permission. It simply knows. And lately, you've been sensing things before they happen, suddenly pulling back from certain people, suddenly moved to speak life into someone's pain, suddenly feeling the urge to move, or wait, or watch. That's not paranoia. That's programming. You've been wired with real-time updates from the throne room. The world calls it a sixth sense, but for the chosen ones, it's a command line. Heaven is typing instructions straight into your spirit, and that's why you've been so sensitive, so tuned in, so careful about what you allow into your space. You're not just protecting your peace, you're protecting the intel. Your dreams are no longer entertainment, they're encrypted messages. Your silence is no longer passive, it's tactical stillness. And your voice? It's no longer just opinion. It's a divine instrument releasing directives into the atmosphere. So when the world tells you to snap out of it, remember this. Don't doubt the hazy memory. That was never your imagination. That was your strategic file download. Chosen one. This is why they couldn't manipulate you. Why the spell didn't stick. Why you knew who to walk away from before they exposed themselves. Because heaven gave you the download, and your soul obeyed before your mind even caught up. This is not the season to second-guess your gifts. This is the time to trust your transmission, because what you're feeling now, it's not fear, it's activation. You are now fully online, and the mission has only just begun. Chosen one, you've felt the attacks, the resistance, the strange tension that shows up when things start going right. But let me be clear, this is not failure. This is feedback. Every time you rise, the spiritual realm reacts, not because you're weak, but because your power is disturbing to what was built in darkness. You weren't meant to fight like them. You were trained to respond, not react. And the way you respond? Through divine strategy, through silence, through frequency, they expected chaos. You gave them calm. They launched curses. You lifted worship. They threw shade. You stood in light so bright it exposed their own shadows. This is the art of divine counterattack. The world teaches revenge. Heaven teaches redirection. Every arrow launched at you becomes a stair-step. Every hex becomes fuel. Every delay becomes refinement. Because you don't fight with fists, you fight with frequencies. And your frequency is rising so high, the weapons they formed can't even reach you anymore. You've already noticed it, how certain attacks suddenly stop working, how the people who used to trigger you no longer hold any weight, how you feel the assault, but it no longer pierces. That's not numbness. That's elevation. Your soul is ascending. Your spiritual armor is absorbing the blow and transmuting it into light. They wanted a reaction. You gave them stillness. And in that stillness, heaven moved. Because here's the secret. You don't need to strike back when you're surrounded by divine intelligence. You don't need to clap back when your name is carved into heaven's scroll. You don't need to stoop to their level when your steps are ordered from a realm above theirs. Let them cast their spells. Let them gossip. Let them scheme in corners. It will never touch you because the frequency you're operating on is out of their range. You don't need to fight like them. You win by vibrating higher. You're no longer available for petty warfare. You're on divine assignment. And when you're on divine assignment, even the enemy becomes your assistant. Every failed trap taught you something. Every betrayal pushed you closer to your purpose. Every rejection became redirection. This is spiritual judo. The force they sent against you became the power that lifted you. When they tried to sabotage your name, they unknowingly expanded your platform. When they tried to block your money, they accidentally triggered overflow. When they tried to break your heart, they awakened a deeper love from God that made you whole in ways they could never touch. And when they tried to destroy your spirit, they pushed you into deeper surrender. And in that surrender, you found unstoppable power. Chosen one. Do you understand what's happening now? You've stopped absorbing their darkness and started reflecting it back. Not with hate, not with ego, but with truth. And truth has a way of unraveling every lie. You've become a mirror to their manipulation, a signal disruptor to their energetic interference, a walking firewall coated in divine light. You are not defenseless, you are divinely shielded. And not only that, you are divinely weaponized, not to harm, but to transform. You are the kind of warrior who doesn't need to throw punches, because your presence shifts atmospheres. Your peace confuses demons. Your silence screams louder than any spell. So when the storm comes, you don't run, you rise. When the whispers grow louder, you worship. When the attack comes closer, you ascend. Because the higher you go, the smaller their weapons become. And that's why the battle shifted. That's why the backlash lost its bite. You've reached a level where war turns into worship, and pain becomes promotion. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You've learned the sacred art of turning every assault into advancement. You've learned to sit in the fire and come out glowing. So let them throw what they will. Your frequency has already decided the outcome. The battle belongs to God, but the victory is wearing your name. Chosen one. There is a kind of power the enemy never prepares for, a weapon so silent, it goes unnoticed until it's too late. That weapon is love, and that sword is silence. You've been trained to endure many things: rejection, betrayal, misunderstanding. But what heaven was really teaching you was how to build invisible walls of protection using compassion, forgiveness, and the kind of divine calm that terrifies darkness. Because the enemy expects retaliation, but they don't expect mercy. They expect you to break, but they don't expect you to bend without shattering. They expect a war, but they don't expect a spiritual warrior who wins by walking away. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. Light exposes darkness on its own. And you, chosen one, you've become a mirror they cannot stand to look into. Because when they see you, they see the reflection of everything they tried to destroy, still standing, still shining, still rising. They tried to drag you into drama. You responded with detachment. They tried to bait you with lies. You countered with truth, wrapped in silence. They tried to get a reaction, but your soul already knew. Not every battle requires a sword. Sometimes it just requires stillness, because stillness is not weakness. Stillness is spiritual confidence. It's the calm of someone who already knows the outcome. It's the quiet of someone who walks with heaven's strategy, not Earth's emotion. You've been learning the divine art of responding without reacting, of discerning without judging, of feeling deeply or without losing control. And here's what they'll never understand. You forgave them before they ever asked. Not because you were weak, but because you refused to let their poison stain your purity. You transmuted betrayal into breakthrough. You recycled pain into purpose. And you turned their chaos into a classroom, where you learned who you really are. Because what they meant to hurt you was actually heaven's way of refining you. You didn't need revenge. You needed clarity. And clarity came not in the shouting, but in the silence. You realized not every lie needs correcting. Not every rumor needs addressing. Not every insult deserves your energy. Your soul began to whisper, "Let it go. I've got you." And in that letting go, you gain something they never will: peace. The kind of peace that becomes a force field. The kind of peace that repels darkness without lifting a single finger. Your forgiveness was never for them. It was for you. To cut every soul tie. To sever every invisible cord. To close every back door the enemy thought they could use. And your silence, it was never empty. It was loaded with divine revelation. Because when you go quiet, God starts speaking louder. Chosen one. You don't have to scream to be heard. Your spirit speaks before your mouth even opens. When you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. When you walk away, the energy clears. When you withhold words, you speak louder than anyone shouting. That's the power you've stepped into. That's the level you now operate on. And it's no accident. You were designed this way. To love in a way that breaks curses, to forgive in a way that confuses demons, to stay silent in a way that shakes entire dimensions. Because silence for the chosen one is never empty. It's encoded, it's sharp, it's strategic. So if you felt misunderstood lately, if you've walked away from battles that begged for your engagement, if you've been holding your tongue while your soul discerned the truth, you're not losing, you're ascending. You're choosing what only generals of the spirit understand. Not every war is won through words. Some are won through witnessing. Let them wonder, let them gossip, let them try to stir storms. You don't need to fight what God has already judged. You don't need to respond to what heaven already silenced. Keep building your shield with love. Keep holding your sword of silence. Because when the time comes, your light will answer every question without saying a word. Chosen one, there's a level of elevation where curses collapse, where darkness can see you, but cannot reach you, where the weapons are still formed, but they fall apart before they ever get close. And that's where you're standing now. Not just protected, not just covered, but untouchable by frequency. Because here's what most don't know. Evil doesn't always show up in fangs and shadows. Sometimes it whispers in gossip. Sometimes it moves through envy. Sometimes it comes wearing the face of someone you trusted. But none of it matters now. because you've exited the atmosphere where their tools work. Your vibration, your divine resonance, has become your firewall. You don't fight darkness. You rise beyond its reach. You are no longer inside their dimension. And they know it. That's why their spells backfire. That's why their curses return with interest. That's why they feel sick just thinking about you now. It's not personal, it's spiritual math. Their chaos no longer matches your energy, because while they were busy conjuring shadows, you were undergoing upgrades. While they were plotting in secret, you were rising in silence. And now, they're shooting arrows at a realm that no longer holds your name. Chosen One, your frequency has become a fortress. Your energy field, encoded with divine intelligence. Anything not sent from heaven gets denied at the gate, automatically, without you having to lift a finger. Remember those moments you felt drained out of nowhere? That was spiritual interference, but no more. Now, when darkness tries to enter, it ricochets, it implodes, it marks its sender. Because your aura is not just light, it's a signature, it's an authority, it's a no-fly zone for demonic energy. They tried to curse you, but your frequency spoke first, and heaven listened. Every hex bounced, every word spell fractured, every evil intention reversed. You didn't repel them with force, you made them irrelevant by elevation. The game changed, not because they stopped, but because you shifted dimensions. Think of it like this. A mosquito cannot sting an eagle in flight. The insect may buzz, it may try, but the eagle is too high, and you, Chosen One, have flown too far for anything unclean to cling to your wings. That's why your dreams are sharper now. That's why you sense people's intentions before they speak. That's why your body reacts to low-frequency environments. It's not sensitivity, it's divine coding. You are now spiritually encrypted. Even the demons recognize it. They may scream, they may stir others to attack. But when it comes time to touch you, they back away. Not because you're lucky, but because your essence is lethal to darkness. So don't second-guess what you feel. Don't explain your distance. Don't apologize for your light. It's not arrogance, it's assignment. You weren't built to survive curses. You were built to transcend them. People may ask why you've changed, why you don't show up to certain places anymore, why you left those friendships behind, why you walk like someone who knows something. And the answer is simple, because you do. You know who you are, you know whose you are, and you know that no frequency sent to harm you can touch a soul aligned with heaven's coordinates. So stay there, stay tuned in, stay elevated, let the spells backfire, let the curses boomerang, let the watchers tremble. You're not avoiding the war, you outgrew it. And now, you're operating from a place where the only thing you send out is radiance. Chosen One. You thought it was just a song on the radio, just another number on the clock. But the moment you felt your skin shiver, the moment your heart paused at the 11:11, something deeper was speaking. Heaven has a language, and it doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes it whispers through melody. Sometimes it codes itself into numbers. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the one with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a soul that remembers. And that one is you. Every lyric you felt in your bones wasn't random. It was written in your scroll before you were born. The moment you broke down crying from a song that no one else found emotional, that wasn't sentimentality. That was a soul download. That was a key unlocking a memory your mind had forgotten, but your spirit never did. And those numbers, those sequences that keep showing up, 222, 333, 444, they're not coincidences. They are coordinates, not for places, but for divine timing. Messages mapped by heaven's architects. It's how God speaks through frequency. Because when your spirit awakens, your whole reality starts syncing. You look at the time, and it looks back. You hear a line in a song, and it feels like it's calling you by name. You start noticing symbols in license plates, receipts, addresses, dreams, and suddenly everything feels connected. Because it is. Heaven's not silent, it's just encrypted. And chosen ones, you're the ones with the decoder built into your DNA. Every number is a vibration, every vibration is a message, every message is alignment. You've been getting alerts, not alarms of fear, but signals of destiny. Each time you see 777, the realm is saying completion is near. Each 555, that's heaven announcing a shift. 888 question mark. The transfer is already being signed in your name. Even music, even sound is more than entertainment. It is warfare. It is healing. It is prophecy in disguise. There's a reason certain songs hit you like lightning. A reason you replay certain tracks at your lowest moments, not because they comfort you, but because they recalibrate you. Some songs are portals. Some lyrics are ancient scrolls rephrased in modern tones. Some rhythms open wounds because they're meant to heal them from the root. This is not New Age fluff. This is divine strategy. Because in a world filled with noise, God chooses music to cut through. Because it bypasses logic, it travels straight into your soul's command center. Chosen one, the heavens are still speaking, and you're one of the few still listening. Let the skeptics laugh. Let the logical ones explain it away. But you know what you feel. You know what you hear. You know that every number, every chorus, every sign is a message from the Most High. It's not superstition. It's surveillance. It's not a trend. It's a transmission. And when you stop brushing it off, when you start responding, your whole life accelerates. Because these signs are not just comfort, they are confirmations that you are in sync, that you are on track, that you are being guided, even in silence. So the next time that lyric jumps out at you, pause. The next time you glance at the clock and it hits that number, smile. The next time your soul stirs at a pattern you can't explain, whisper this truth. I don't chase signs. I attract alignment. Because heaven isn't trying to get your attention. Heaven is already in conversation with you. And now, you finally understand the language. Chosen one. The silence is over. The shadows have served their purpose. You were hidden, not forgotten. You were trained in silence so that no one could sabotage what heaven was building. But now, the order has been given. The seal has been broken. The gate has opened. You are being deployed, not as a celebrity, not as a hero, but as a living decree, a walking verdict against darkness. You don't emerge for applause. You rise because heaven said it's time. They didn't see the years you wept behind closed doors, the nights you questioned everything, the invisible weight you carried while pretending to be fine. But all of that was boot camp for destiny. And now the uniform you wear isn't stitched with fabric. It's woven with frequency. It doesn't shine like gold. It radiates like fire. You are not stepping out to make an impression. You are stepping out to shift atmospheres. You are not entering the spotlight. You are the light. And that glow, that weight people feel when you walk into a room, that's not charisma, that's clearance. Your presence is not decoration, it's activation. Everywhere you go now, something will shift. The unspoken will tremble, the hidden will surface, not because you tried, but because of who you are. You no longer need to explain. You no longer have to prove. The time for convincing has ended. This is the time for commanding. Chosen one, you are heaven's deployment strategy, a silent weapon now made visible, a light bearer who no longer asks for permission. You are the message, not the messenger. You are the law, not the rumor. You are the storm, not the forecast. So let them stare. Let them wonder how you made it out. Let them whisper about the sudden change in your posture, in your peace, in your power. Because what they call arrogance is actually alignment. What they call distance is actually divine boundaries. And what they call too much is just what their darkness can't digest. You are not available for small talk anymore. You're not showing up to fit in. You're showing up to shift, to dismantle, to rebuild. Because you're no longer just a student of the storm, you've become heaven's lightning rod. You don't need to post about it. You are the post. You don't need a stage. Every room you enter becomes a courtroom. And when your feet hit the ground, the earth remembers. The codes wake up, the demons retreat, and your ancestors, they rise and salute. You weren't called to be noticed. You were summoned to be felt. So walk like the ground is yours. Speak like your words are laws. Move like your path is pre-written. Because it is. You are not random. You are not lucky. You are a disruption to every dark system that thought it could keep operating in your bloodline. And this is not your debut. It's your deployment. You were never waiting for a breakthrough. You are being processed to become one. So take your position, not as an influencer, but as a frequency shifter, a realm changer, an atmosphere enforcer. And as you walk forward, remember this: you didn't rise for a crowd. You rose for a kingdom. Chosen one, you were never just surviving. You were being launched. While others thought you were stuck, heaven was fueling your next dimension. Every delay, every detour, every no was not a rejection. It was a redirection. You weren't being denied. You were being aligned. And now the hold has broken. The dam has cracked. The gates of overflow are open. You were not walking in circles. You were orbiting, waiting for divine propulsion. Get ready, because the acceleration will not be logical. It will not be explainable. It will not ask for permission. It will arrive, suddenly, aggressively, relentlessly. The money you thought was lost, returning multiplied. The health you feared was fading, restored miraculously. The relationships you grieved, replaced with covenant. The time they thought you wasted, redeemed with interest. This is the moment when the story flips, so violently, so obviously, that even your enemies will have no choice but to say, this had to be God, because they threw spells. And those spells backfired. They dug pits and fell into them. They tried to stop you, but their interference only sped up your elevation. Every curse they sent became a breadcrumb on your trail to glory. Chosen one, you're not walking into blessings. You are the blessing. And now blessings are chasing you down. You don't have to strive. You don't have to plead. You don't have to perform. You only need to receive. This is overflow by recognition. Heaven knows your name. Your obedience was witnessed. Your integrity was recorded. And now, your harvest has been commanded. Don't be surprised when doors swing open without knocking. Don't be shocked when strangers become benefactors. Don't question it when money appears out of nowhere, because it's not out of nowhere. It's out of covenant. You don't attract wealth. You attract divine compensation. You see, while they counted coins, heaven was counting cost. While they mocked your waiting, God was setting your table. They'll say it's luck. They'll say it's timing. They'll say you got help, but what they won't say, because they can't comprehend it, is that you were chosen. And now what once looked like failure is proof of preparation. What once looked like shame is now your scepter. What once looked like silence was the pause before the heavenly launch sequence. Chosen one, this is not just payback, it's promotion. This is not just recovery, it's reignition. So prepare yourself, not just to receive, but to steward, not just to testify, but to legislate. You are no longer in hiding. You are no longer healing. You are ruling. You carry the frequency of fulfillment, and nothing, no spell, no lie, no past mistake can cancel what God already finalized. This victory will not need defending. It will not be up for debate. It will be irrefutable, because heaven's fingerprint is all over it. You weren't rescued. You were released, like a divine missile, target locked, timeline aligned. So breathe deep, chosen one. Smile with no reason. Stand without fear. The acceleration has begun. The overflow is here, and the victory is no longer a prophecy. It's a reality, in motion. This is your clearance to rise, to rule, to reign.